The life of a wrestler is complex. They spend nights on the road, in the air, in restaurants, in hotels. They travel from city to city to continue on their journey to greatness. The icons, the extremists, the legends, the women, and the independent superstars. They have lived their lives to the fullest. They eat, sleep, and breathe professional wrestling 24/7, 365 days a year to fulfill their dreams. For the first time, we are opening our vaults to bring you the best of the best, sharing their bumps along the road to their legacies. We have cheered them, we have booed them, while they have had to live a life in the fast lane.
One night, Bob Orton and Rocco and I were in Fresno, I think it was, someplace. And, we went to this restaurant. They bought us food and drinks and all this kind of stuff. And there was a rent-a-car. And somehow the restaurant closed down. We all got in the car. And we started to get more beer. And then Bob and Don went in the can. And some construction guy said something. And I must have accidentally tapped him and went on the floor. I said, let's get out of here. Boom. So we got in the car, and there was these sets of tracks. Like, I got to make it up, maybe eight double tracks, train tracks. I don't know how this happened, but we were taking a corner, and somehow the car slid off the pavement onto the train track. So Don Morocco and myself got out and said to Bob Orton, we'll lift it up, hit the gas. Well, around the train track is these like rocks about this big, right? The wheels are off the grip. So there's our, and the rocks were hitting us like 22 bullets. Stop. And it wasn't going nowhere. And just show you how we weren't thinking. All of a sudden, hey, come here, this should be interesting. And here was this train coming, and there was that car. And we were just going, and the train was not on the track of the car. So obviously the car was stolen. I don't know how Bob got away. However, Morocco and I come into the hotel lobby, and there's cops all over the place. And what? Now Orton, the hotel has the floors go, each floor you can look down and see all the nice hotel. And so somehow Bob got in bed. On, let's say, the 6th floor. And he hears a commotion, and Bob's still being a little froggy. He's naked. And he opens the door, and with his foot, touches the door, and he yells out, "Shut the fuck up down there, I'm trying to sleep." Click. The police look up, see a naked man, a black gentleman and a white gentleman come on up, and the black cop shot him 3 times in the tummy with whatever they were. They had like little flags on. Orton looked at him and went, "You stupid fucking nigger." All the way in the elevator, all the way downstairs. And they didn't know that Bob was with us. All they knew, they just shot a guest for making too much more noise in the lobby at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm the only one not checked in, so somebody's got to take the rap. When I got out of jail the next morning, again oblivious, I'm walking down to the airport. People are parting like the Nile. I still have drunk, and there's food and everything else. My picture's on the front page, and the news on the, who does he think he is coming into this town? And the police were trying to find me because they let me out of jail on bond, but then I guess the guy that actually fell off the stool, so we got out in the air and we got away from that. And that was like every night. I can tell you, man.
The first night in Buffalo, we didn't have a match, and then we were in a separate hotel, and the agents were trying to get us to go to the other no. We had a reputation of being partiers, but we came in. We knew that we had that rep, so we were gonna try to stay out. Try to play it low key first couple days in.
Terry Garvin told us you need to go out and meet with the guys. And basically, we were just going to keep to ourselves. So he said, don't do that. If you guys think you guys are, think you're too good.
We went in there, and everybody was in there. And really, all that happened, we went down, there was Davey,
Jimmy Powers.
but Marty and I were just talking to him, and then Jimmy Jack Funk goes over, he's his hammer, Jesse Ball. Right. And he's the hammer, he goes, hey, you guys a big partier.
Oh, you guys supposed to be big partiers, huh? Come on.
Ah, you big partier. And he bites, he bites part of his glass off and chews at him. I'm like, no. Come on, you gotta come on, show me what you got. Does another one. And he's just taking his aces and finally said,
Tell Sean, come on, punk.
come on, punk. And like now, okay, so I grabbed the glass, okay, you want to see? It's broken on my head, boom, and I left. Right. And that was it.
The girl that I left with, Jimmy Jack was wanting to leave with. And I didn't know that.
And that's all that happened, just that.
Right.
The next day,
we're coming into the lunchroom, catering, and he comes and goes, what the fuck's your problem? To Marty, and Marty goes, he thought he was ripping, because we had hung out.
Right.
And Marty goes, what do you mean?
well, you know what you did last night.
So anyway, he goes on this big spiel about how we're
Taking glasses and breaking them all over the bar and scaring the hell out of poor bartender.
we go on, we had to work with him that night, him and Jose Estrada.
Right.
So one of the agents says, look, you better fucking work with him.
And Jesse even came over afterwards and said he was sorry. Sorry, guys, I just had too much to drink.
That night, Vince goes, hey, let's watch, throwing the bottles, throwing stuff in the bar.
Raised a little hell, but not too much.
That was about it.
Terry Garvin called, like, sorry, Marty. He goes,
You're fine. So in 2 weeks, this thing has blown up into this whole, get rid of it.
well, about breaking all the glasses in the place and tearing up the bar and causing fights. None of that happened. No, that ain't what happened. No, we go.
So we go, please, let's go up and talk to Vince. So we fly up to the old office in Greenwich. Marty and I are sitting there just like I'm sitting here now. We got, this back in the day we wore the cowboy boots,
Right.
the rest of them, with the snakeskin
Right.
cowboy boots. And Vince comes out and goes, hey, nice boots. And we went, oh, thanks. He goes, they're made for walking, We went, oh, God, please. He goes, oh, just kidding, come on in. Came in, then he fired us.
Then he fired us.
We were in Baltimore, Maryland one night, and we've been on the road. We had, not being home, not a day off, for 96 days straight. And Rotundo, he'd had it. Rotundo, he snapped, he flipped. Here we were driving downtown Baltimore. We were going to a restaurant to eat, and he's in the passenger seat, and he's wigged. So I said, what are you doing? He opens the door and he gets out and just leaves. So now here I am driving around downtown Baltimore. I'm trying to find Rotundo. Man, where'd he go? And I can't leave him, his best friend and that. So I get a phone call. I finally went back to the hotel. I get a phone call, and it's my sister. My sister said to me, Mike just wanted me to tell you that he wants to know that if you'll send his bags home, because he went to the airport. He didn't have enough money with him to pay cab fare, because his money was in his bags at the hotel. But he gave his watch to a cab, to a taxi driver, take him to the airport. And of course, man, we had stacks of airplane tickets, from Vince. We had thousands of dollars worth of plane tickets, We had those tickets you could use to go anywhere on the planet, left over, whether we, instead of flying somewhere, we decided to drive the car just to do something different. So Mike used those tickets, to go home. Well, the next night, we were in Boston. There I was, Rotundo had left, flipped out and gone home. George Scott was there at the building. And I was ranting and raving like a lunatic. I said, man, you've run Rotundo off. Every 2 weeks when we're at TV, we do TV for 2 straight days, and we were there from dawn till after midnight when we were doing those TVs for Vince. And, we did a lot of them in Poughkeepsie, New York, and man, they were a battle. It was a marathon, and you were on your feet the whole time, and man, it was hard work because you were traveling every day. Like I said, we were 96 days straight. So I flipped out. I went off. Jay Strongbow was there. George Scott was there. I said, I'm quitting. I'm leaving.
you never see me again. You've done this to us. You begged for days off. I mean, there we were on the road, traveling. And I mean, you didn't go to one place and you didn't work and say, you didn't work in Vancouver and then, you know, Calgary and then say Seattle, you know, like have a little loot. I mean, Vince had us going from, we'd be in Seattle and then the next night Miami and then Madison Square Garden the next night and then San Francisco or LA. I mean, it was crazy, man. His transportation bills had to be, you know, outrageous. You get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, you get on a plane, you fly, you're wearing a pair of jeans that you've been wearing for 5 days because you haven't had time to go to a laundromat or send anything out. When I left Boston on that night, they had a 1 a.m. flight out to St. Petersburg, Florida. I went home. I pulled my phone lines out of the wall. I flipped just like Rotundo did.
I was traveling with my second wife, Cheryl, and my fourth child, Cody. Cheryl at the time was doing the thing with Rick Rude and I. And, being a woman who loves shoes, she wanted to wear these certain shoes that evening and at the show and as a taping and I believe it was for Superstars or something. I can't remember which one it was. And we got to the building and Cheryl's shoes were gone. We looked at the trunk, we looked at the seats, no shoes. And I thought, well, maybe she ditched the shoes because she didn't like them. She just wanted to go shopping. And I was quite perturbed because it made things hectic, trying to get time for her to go shopping, to do all the interviews needed to be done and this needed to be done. And I was a little, you know, had a little edge on me with her, you know, pissed off at her again, you know, for fucking up my day. And went to the ring and wrestled this guy, job guy. Dumped the snake out to find a pair of high heel shoes. Come out first, and the snake came out with them. Huh. I realized that maybe my wife had not lost the shoes. Maybe my young 4-year-old daughter played a game with the snake. I see, Daddy didn't know it. And she had. She put the shoes in the snake bag and thought he needed something to play with. Huh. It was great because I number one, because of my reaction, plus I got a hell of a rush out of it. Like, holy shit. And then I kind of like, being blessed with being able to quick think, I kind of got the bag, I'm like, oh my God, where's the rest of the woman at, you know? And the people loved it, man, and it was just a fun moment, and, you know, the snake, man, he went through a lot with me, and I went through a lot with him, son of bitches.
I want to welcome everybody here to Wildwood tonight, and of course everybody just flew in, and I'm sure his arms are tired. He's a great honky dunk man.
Yeah. Everybody standing around hugging on each other.
On a fucking trip.
How was the trip?
Oh, 4 hours of fucking misery. I was squished over in a window seat.
Huh.
I slept like crazy. A lot of places, but
Wisconsin.
they're all big. I mean, we all drove 400 miles every day. You know, no matter where you were. A short trip back then was 200 miles.
Right.
5-hour trip. But that's where you learn stuff in the cars, talking, riding with older guys, and listening to them. Hardest part sometimes is just getting dressed. Sometimes the hardest part is getting undressed. Since this is independent, you know, come prepared.
Oh yeah.
In case. Stuff like that. He's I'm on the road for 4 days. What are you talking about? Anyway.
There's that break in between shows tonight. So.
Sometimes the liquor stores are closed. Sometimes the beer stores are closed, especially up here on the East Coast. You go to Connecticut or Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, everything closes, so then you got to go to the bar. You always come prepared. You bring your own stuff. So I bring my stuff in my bag.
Do that.
Cameraman, whoever the cameraman is, he had my food. He was gone for an hour while he ate and had his food. Got a cold baked potato, some ham and baby doo-doo roll-up, and a couple hard-boiled eggs. And there, you know, just in case you don't get to eat. And then I got a little tequila with Gatorade here. No wonder it's hot in this building. And I watch these guys put this match together over here. Holy shit. If y'all do all that stuff, I won't even have to go out there. Really? How much time you got up there for me?
You got 10 in each match.
Bullshit.
But I'll tell you what, Friday night you can
That includes the introduction too, right?
Yeah.
Because see, what you got to understand is as soon as you make that announcement, I'm on the clock. You understand, I'm always going to be doing this.
Right.
I have nothing else to do. It's nothing like riding in the beach patrol truck.
Right.
Standing up here with your jumpsuit on, your hair blowing in the breeze. And you know you could be at SummerSlam and get some heat, sell some tickets.
The jury. What you doing?
Was your flight good? Many people?
Oh no, please.
Yeah, look. Super crazy. What are you doing? Look, we're filming for documentary.
What?
Let's go.
Pinche frío. Fucking cold, man.
To be on best.
Getting awesome.
Excuse me, have you seen Tommy?
You know Tommy Dreamer?
Okay.
Can I drink a little? Oh, come on.
Fuck, I forgot the keys. Yo, fuck. Just kidding.
We're about to go to the greatest restaurant of all time. Waffle House. Oh, thank you to Jerry. Oh, gracias.
How you want your eggs? White toast, sweet toast, glazed. Coke? Blueberry salad?
Jesus Christ, how much do you eat?
John, you gotta take one.
Wow. What did it say? I don't know.
What the fuck?
Wow. Snake. Dog.
I mean this nigga
This is what we do at truck stops.
Hello. Oye, escúchame, cabrón. Really? What do you want?
Really?
Yeah, how long? I'm really.
In the middle of nowhere.
Sound like some cult?
Jesus Christ, what kind of road is this?
Maybe Shining.
Maybe Shining? Blair Witch Project.
How was your match tonight?
You like match?
Yeah.
Good match?
Yeah.
Fast match.
I'm not tired.
No. Poquito nada más. Poquito chingado, cabrón.
Many fans.
Many fans.
We're gonna go eat now. Where do you guys want to eat?
Yeah.
We're marking out.
We got mama. We got child. Look, sleeping baby.
We're doing like a documentary on the life on the road.
Well, do not talk to the drive-through chick. She'll talk your brains out.
Really?
Oh, you guys already got your food?
Cool.
That's right.
Good cameo.
Cameo by Eric Watts and his mom. Go watch his wife.
Dalton, Georgia.
1 o'clock in the morning.
Paisano.
Who?
Paisano.
Mike Sanders.
Couple Mexicans.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Do you have
Do you know who these guys are? No.
orange?
Shut up. Yeah, it's Kevin and this is Scott.
No.
Well, there wasn't a rude guy at the drive-thru like 10 minutes ago, was there?
No. Was that you guys?
No, it wasn't us.
What the fuck? What are you doing?
Alright, we are back. It's 2:30 in the morning. We left Winchester around 10 o'clock p.m. and 4 hours later it's still on the road. Back in Atlanta. Saw Crazy into Jerry's last match ever in the United States. It was a good day.
Jerry will be wrestling here at the Georgia Dome in 2 months.
Yeah. I'll be wrestling against Chris Benoit.
Yes. Yeah.
How many hours later?
We left there at 9:55. It's 2:30.
You ready?
Yeah. What's up, man?
What's up?
I need his nipping. What's up, guys? Another one. Yo hoy voy a luchar contra él, pinche gigante, cabrón.
Yeah, you're wrestling Ron Reese?
Yes. Yay!
I found it. VFW. Gotta get that 6 o'clock flight home. Fun.
Wow. Hurry up.
Always a fun part of the trip, returning my car.
To expedite your movement through the screening area, please place your cell phone in your
Final trip. Final show. Now you WWF. After 2 years traveling on the road, my last time ever.
Fuck, man. That's normal. Bye. Take care. Bye-bye. Woo!
This will teach you never to do business after not getting any sleep and doing drugs all night. This is the night before I quit. I thought we were going to go out later, so I'm down in the restaurant eating. I got my Entertainment Weekly and I'm reading. And Disco comes down to the restaurant. He said, we're going out now. I was like, all right. So I stuck the Entertainment Weekly in my back pocket. We went out, did a bunch of ecstasy. Well, he might not have done any, but I did. And did a bunch of clubs. It was a really good night at the clubs. There's a big fight right in front of us. I think two broads were fighting and pounding each other, you know what I mean? I think Disco almost got knocked over by him. I hooked up with this chick, big muscle girl, but she wasn't like lean hard, you know, she's a more power lifter looking. Pretty girl though, pretty face. But you know, big, stocky. And so I hooked up with her, went back to her hotel, and she had like a volcano hot tub, you know, room. I was all fucked up on drugs. Had sex. We got no sleep whatsoever, up all night, you know, because plus I couldn't sleep anyway because all the drugs in me. So finally I get ready to roll out of there about like 9 or 10 in the morning. Roll out of there, no shower, no nothing, still in the same clothes from the night before. Entertainment Weekly still in the back pocket. My hair is sticking up like Sideshow Bob, just, you know, got that big mop. You know, and I slept, I didn't sleep on it, but I laid on it all night, rolling around in bed, sweating and, you know, just filthy sex. And so I come walking out, now the sunlight hits me, I walk out the door, I'm like, oh, thinking like a vampire, I'm ready to die. The worst part is in Vegas, if you walk out the wrong exit on a hotel, you can be stuck having to go like 80 miles around the block to get around because the streets are all, you know how it is, with sectioned off with walls and everything. So I go out the wrong door, I go to turn back to get back in, and the thing shuts behind me. I can't get back in, I got to circle around the block, and then I got to go up and over and get back to the MGM, and you know, super hot out, I'm just dying in the same nasty clothes I had, sweat soaked from dancing the night before. So I make it back to the hotel, but I got no time to go change or anything. So I just, you know, just what I'm wearing, Entertainment Weekly in the back pocket. I go into the, but I got my sunglasses on at least though, and struggle into the back of the MGM, go back to the locker rooms. You know, the boys just like, hey, nice night, you know, great. I just look like somebody who just died. They call a meeting. And so we all go in for the meeting, and Conan laid down on the ground in this one area, so I go sat laid down next to him. Went next to him because I knew we were going to get yelled at. And I figured I'll be right by him because I know he's getting yelled at too, because we'd all been burying the company to, you know, to the regular media because we were so, you know, despondent over the poor treatment. The very first words out of Eric's mouth are, Scott, and I think he's going to go right to me first. But then he goes, Scott Cunningham, our attorney's here. I was like, maybe he's not going to talk about me. He goes, Scott Cunningham, our attorney's here, and Raven, if you're not happy with the company, there's the door. I was like, I guess he's talking about me. I go, all right, see ya. And I got up, walked out the door, and the boys was like, just fucking walked out, you know what I mean? And still got the Entertainment Weekly in my back pocket. And as I'm walking out of here, Conan, and if you don't like the way this company's being run, there's the fucking door. Bagwell starts cutting promos to everybody. So I got the door, I go to turn behind me, go, hey, how about that, Conan? And there was nobody behind me. Like, well, it's not that I thought he was, I didn't think he was following me because I left, but I just thought he was going to leave anyway, you know what I mean? So I just turned around and go, hey, there's nobody here. We come out of the meeting and Bischoff's like, whatever. He goes, what are you going to do now? I go, I'm going to go to New York. He goes, no, you're not. I go, yeah, I am. And I said, you said that if we're happy with the company, we can leave. That implies we can go wherever we want. I'm going to New York. Well, bro, you're a man of your word, Eric. What are you going to hold me up now? He's like, no, I guess not. I'll tell the attorneys, all right? 20 minutes later, half an hour later, the attorney comes up to me and says, you're not going to New York. Eric said, no. I don't know. I didn't make the best business moves, which is why you never want to do ecstasy all night, even Entertainment Weekly in your back pocket, get no sleep, no shower, and then not sleep for like 40 hours, and then quit a company.
We were over Sandman's house, which right there, the beginning of the story, we were over Sandman's house.
Right.
So you know the story starts off with not a fucking great start. My brother and his friends, there wasn't a lot of work then, so we would pretend we were working. I mean, like in our mind, like, let's go fucking be on the road. We'd all go, and instead of, you know, jackass or something, then we'd go and play hack-ass. We would go and get fucked up and like throw bounty keeper towels at each other and stuff, and spray paint each other's head, just be retards. So we wouldn't get to be on the road, so we'd go and pretend we were like out partying. Well, we were partying, but just Sandman's basement. So we all got booked in Dallas. So we go over to Hack's house, and it's snowing, and we're up, you know, partying all night. We get up to get to the airport. We're in Sandman's big van. The snow's coming down like crazy. The windows are broken, so there's snow flying in. We're like all wet. We get to the airport. Philadelphia airport is closed. Our flight was delayed. We sit there for 7 hours. So of course, where do we go but right to the bar? We've already been up all night. When you go and get on the plane, we still had a bunch of US Air miles. So me and Candy upgraded. Sandman did not, but went ahead and just sat there anyway. And nobody was going to tell him no. So they had the, you know, you put the headphones on, they have the different stations. we put down when we're playing the station. We found a classic rock station. I remember the Who was on. Me and Sandman are up as the plane is boarding. We're sitting in the bulkhead, the first class section, and we're doing the Pete Townsend windmill, singing like, "Don't get fooled," you know. And so we were calling it a ruckus. So somehow Tammy had fallen asleep for a while and kind of sobered up. The stewardess pulled her off the plane. Are these two guys with you? So we're going to call the cops. Like, no. You're like, well, are they under the influence? She's like, no, they're just having fun. So she goes, and so she's like looking at the stewardess, like looking at us, like, stop it. Her back is turned. So the other stewardess is there in front of the coat section. Sandman closes the curtain, opens the drawer with all the alcohol in it, and dumps it right in the bag in front of you, the back of the deal. So we killed the entire alcohol content of the first class cabin on the way to Dallas. We were so late because of the weather that when we got there, the show was almost over. A limousine pulls up, and Manny Fernandez and Mil Mascaris are in it. I mean, we're already so and also there's a limousine, and these two guys are like, what in the hell is going on? They lost our bags, so Sandman calls, he's like, wait, I'll fix it. They lost our bags, so we need a 30-pack. Like, oh, that'll fix it. I remember the limo pulling up like on a dirt floor, and they played my music. Me and Tammy out of the back of the car. Put Sandman's music out of the back of the car. We went ahead and had some semblance of the match that I don't know. Only thing I remember is Tammy had to come in and take the stick when he went to hit me and go to save me and then nail me. She grabbed it and had a good buzz on too. Forgot which one she was supposed to hit. She just took the stick a long ways and threw it and hit me and Sandman both. Boom, right in the nose. We both fell down. We went to the finish somehow. She got suplexed on the floor we had the guardrail in there and stuff. Right. Fell to the floor. Sandman suplexed her on the floor. She hit her leg on the guardrail and tore her quad. She was on like crutches for 3 weeks. And then I knew in the morning we wake up, banging on the door, come on. He opened the door. There's Hack with a big Texas flag on his head, a big belt buckle, and a shirt with a stripper on it, the International Players Club. I was like, where the fuck? We both go, where the fuck did you go at the same time? I got the same outfit on. Tammy gets up, where'd you go to a fucking strip club? What the fuck is... She got the fucking same thing on. To this day, we don't know how we got it, where we got it. Apparently, I was talking to AJ Styles the other night. That was the first time I met him. He goes, the only time I met you, he goes, I kind of met you in Dallas, but I don't think you remember. I was like, nah, I don't really remember much about Dallas.
Toronto, 12-passenger van. Me, Chris, Davey Boy Smith, Dustin Runnels, Billy Gunn, Bart Gunn, there, Al Snow. And in a van behind us was Owen Hart and some guy he had driving him around. So we were in this van, brand new van, huge van. I was the only girl there. I'm trying to hide my head because I'm like, we're gonna get arrested. They had the windows open and they were shooting Roman candles out of the windows at the van Owen was in behind us on the highway. So you see these flames coming from one van, going to another van. All these cars in the back of us are swerving. They had no idea what's going on. Marty and Dustin were wrestling over the seats, breaking the arms of the seats. Davey Boy broke the passenger side window. We wouldn't go up anymore. As soon as there was like a lull, it was quiet for a minute. You see Marty like this, and you hear, and all of a sudden, green or red smoke filled the van. He lit off smoke bombs like when nobody noticed. So everything was stained. There was burn marks in the carpets. So we brought back the van. Davey brought it back. And in his British accent, he said, oh, I can't believe you rented me a van with a broken window, and look at all these buttons, and the seats are broken, and I can't believe you, I had my family in here. And, well, he didn't pay for it, somebody else paid for it. Davey got it reimbursed on his credit card, and he got a month of free rentals because of it. And it wasn't even his van. So, that was the funnest time. We had so much fun.
A lot of hard work, man. Ooh, I mean, sometimes 4 or 5 appearances in a day. From 3 morning radio shows. I get up at usually 4:30 every morning and do all the morning drive time radio shows in person, into stations, not call-ins, as you do now. I mean, I go into the stations, and then I'd be on the noontime shows, and I do appearances on the mall. Then I'd be on the weatherman at 6 o'clock and try to go work out at night, and I'm not complaining, but and travel to the next city. I did fly some. Yeah. I did fly home maybe twice for a couple, just about like 1 or 2 days all summer. So I had a little daughter.
Right.
Time was just real little at the time. My son was older, but my daughter was like 1 or 2. So it was, you know, she was. It was tough, you know, raising my family like that. You know, a lot of hard work.
There's one story that comes to mind. When I first came in the States, I guess it was like my initiation was traveling with Tiger Conway Jr. You know, that night we're going from Tampa to Miami. I think it's my first week in the territory. You know, Terry, the Funks, you know, means I was like a big fan of them. And I'm in the car, Terry, Tiger, and I in the car, and you know, we're traveling. There's a car behind us. I mean, a couple of miles behind us is like J.J. Dillon, Roger Kirby, and I can't remember the 2 other guys. So Terry goes to Tiger. I'm in the back, and I can only understand so much English, you know, and I hear him say, hey, look, we go by them, and I'll moon them, you know. We slow down, they pass us, and then all of a sudden, you know, Terry puts down his pants and moon them. We're laughing, and those guys, you know, I'm going, and I'm carrying on. And I says, hey Rick, you know, we do it, both of us, you know, and, oh yeah, great, you know, so I'm in the back, and we moon them both, and we laughing, high-fiving, and great, it's funny, you know. So finally Terry goes, hey, he says, I'll tell you what, why don't we go, you know, way ahead of them, and then, you know, we'll stop the car, and I'll get naked, and I'll run around the car, you know, and everything. Oh, hey, I'll do it too, guys, and, you know. So, and win the Everglades, you know. So now we're naked, you know, and I want to be part of the guys, right? I'm new, and I want to fit in, you know. So we're both naked, and now we get off, you know, we get out of the car, and then we see them coming, right? So we see them coming, and we both run, you know. And I see, you know, Terry gets in this right beside the driver, so he gets in, you know, boom, and I go to get my door in the back, and then, you know, and they're naked outside, and whoa, and they go, and now, you know, I mean, it's the Everglades, you know, so where am I gonna hide, you know, I mean, the alligators and stuff, so I'm like, wow, I'm nervous. So now the other guys are in the back, and they're laughing, I'm naked in the middle of the road, you know, so they want to go around me, but I'm like this, you know, naked in the middle of the road. And they try to. Then I go, oh man, give me a ride, please, you know. And they start, you know, going, driving, and then pretty soon I can't keep up the pace, you know. I fell down, and they left me there, you know, for I don't know how many minutes, but it seemed like hours, you know. And cars would come and go hide, you know, and so that was. And then after that, Terry got to be world champion, you know. So I believe that happened in Florida, and I was really, you know, kind of embarrassed about that, you know. And then I'd go like to Texas, you know, do work in Texas and everything, and then they'd say, oh, Terry Funk is coming next year, world champion, I'm going to be here for a week, and I'm saying, oh. So right away, you know, Terry would walk in the dressing room, oh, Rick Martha, let me tell you this stuff. And then he'd go to Georgia, and nobody would know about the story. And then Terry would come in, and he'd tell everybody, you know, oh man, everybody got to know about that Rick.
I don't know. You know, in Calgary, had a tough road schedule, but it wasn't so tough. It was, you know.
The Calgary 3,300 miles a week was not tough.
Well, it was tough.
Minus 100 degrees, minus 100.
If you look into it,
Low zero.
Louisiana had tough
and
roads.
Stu never putting tires in the car. They're all balls.
Louisiana was, Amarillo was tough. They were all tough. I mean, what's an hour difference?
Right.
What's another 100 miles compared to, you know? I think that the Calgary territory was tough, but at the same time it wasn't. It was very. It's the only territory I ever knew where they ride in a band. 15 wrestlers in a band singing songs all the way back. They drive 500 miles to sing, drink.
And what happened when the songs stopped?
We were real army. Like, we were real platoon.
And it was just dark in the van.
There was a brotherhood between the wrestlers that I don't see in a lot of places, and I think the business is missing that. But the wrestlers in Calgary, like when we would drive 500 miles together, we'd drive 500 miles back together. I can remember one specific incident where there was a brawl at a street light. Everybody was together. It was like
a family.
Yeah, you defend the wrestler next to you like you
defend your beer.
Your own. mother. It was a camaraderie and a respect that went with that expression of the boys, you know. And I think, you know, I missed that part. You know, I think it was hard. It was really tough, like Jim said a second ago. But at the same time, if you gave me a case of beer now and put me in the van with Jim and John Foley and a bunch of old wrestlers from the Stampede territory and said, we're going to drive you to Calgary, to Regina and back, I would consider it, I would love to do it.
Right.
And it's a Bret Hart territory also. The old stories.
So the thing about the wrestling business, you know, one of those things, why I want my boys there is that you become consumed with that lifestyle, and you know, the road can be a very lonely place, and because when you're out on the road all the time, and you know, you're going to an empty hotel room every night, you're away from your wife, you're away from your children, and you know, it's not what so many people think. Well, you're surrounded by all these friends, you're surrounded by all these people who love you. They don't love you, they don't know who you really are. All they know is that character that they see on television. And it's the same for any other entertainer or any traveling salesman. But in a hotel and the life in a different town, in a city that you're familiar with every night becomes a very lonely place. And then you begin to fill that with drinking, you begin to fill that with drugs, you begin to fill that with women and just about everything else to fill a void in your life. And you know, thus the high rate of divorce and alcohol and drug addiction and what have you. You know, by the grace of God, I never was addicted to drugs or alcohol. Played with all of it. And but at any rate, in that confrontation with my wife and that confrontation with myself, I had to decide that it was time for me to change.
Vince, you know, that last year, especially with Rocky and Vince, you know, Vince would, a lot of times we're talking to the third person, and he would say, what's the matter? You don't like Vince anymore, or you don't want to be around Vince? And I reached the point in life where I certainly had no financial independence and was not in a position to throw down the gauntlet with Vince. I also, you know, as I got older, and I'm in my 50s now, and I've turned 50, and I've got twins, and I've got an added responsibility, and I've got another baby on the way, and I've done things in my life, like I said, I've jumped out of airplanes, I've done silly things, but when my children came along, I looked at things differently in life. And where at one time after a TV, I would think nothing of jumping in a car and have somebody get behind the wheel and turn the key and hit the floor and drive 100 miles an hour, cop pull them over, get them a ticket, and then the cop turns around, boom, same thing. And all of a sudden it's like, we ever wrapped around a pole, my wife's sitting home with those two kids and another one on the way, and things that didn't bother me before did bother me. And so I made the conscientious effort to not want to be in that car. I chose to go with Howard Finkel, and you know, I was ridiculed somewhat for that. Oh, you'd rather be with Howard than be with Vince. But, and when Vince asked me, I told him, I said, Vince, I don't want to take those risks anymore. It's not funny to me. It's not something I want to do. I worry about what might happen and the responsibility I've had to those little kids sitting at home.
Whoever gets this tape, all right, you paid however much money for this. In 1985, it cost you $10 to buy the ringside seat. You could get in for $8. For your price of admission of $8 so that you could have enjoyment, I scarred my body, I cut my face with a razor blade so that you could have enjoyment. Not a single person that you will ever deal with in life where you pay somebody to do a professional service for you, whether you buy a ticket to go to a concert, will give you that much dedication, that much return on your money as me and my contemporaries did of that time.
Call me a
fake and call me a social outcast for what I did for a living, because they don't have enough insight, discernment to grab a hold of it. I think of the hours and hours and the miles that I've driven, and you got all my blood, all my sweat, all my energy for 40 or 50 minutes or 30 minutes every night. I don't think I need to say anything else on that.
A lot of personal issues that I've been dealing with for a long time. I drank one night and then I stopped and went back. And then that night, the second night I drank, you know, obviously I got caught with a DUI. Living alone when I've been living, you know, I had 11 years of marriage, and before that I was living with my mom and dad. You know, I really was never alone. The thing of not being able to see my kids a lot, which I'm very close to, had a big effect on me. And I can give all the excuses in the world and try and justify what I did, but the bottom line is, it was wrong. You know, it's no excuse to get drunk. It's no excuse to get out of myself. You know, that's what an addict does. You know, that's what we do best, is try and numb the pain with somebody else, with something else. And I guess at that time, in my state of mind, that's what I wanted to do, was just get out of myself. And obviously I can't do it normal when you're going to take it to the extreme, which is my addictive personality, you know. It's taken a lot of bad shit to happen to me for me to realize this. Right. But success for me right now, and probably from now until the day I die, I'll always measure, you know, my performance in the ring, how I can please the true wrestling fans and the new wrestling fans, and you know, respect of my comments on what I do. As far as business wise, the real success comes in personal life. But I haven't had this kind of peace in a long time.
How was your flight in?
Oh, that sucked. Just got on a fucking flight. All right, first stop beer.
Yes.
Only because you can't get liquor. Because I don't even want to drink a lot of beer driving. Then you got to piss and all that shit. Oh, if we had Scotty with us, we'd definitely be at a Waffle House, and we'd have to go buy a chessboard at a fucking late night store. That's the only place he could ever beat me in chess, ever. It was weird. Once we walked through the doors of a Waffle House, like, you know how it's like a retro 1950 kind of, where they shout out the fucking the eggs like this, there's stewed, scrambled, sliced, hashed, all that shit. And they got the jukebox in there that's not like this. It's like the fucking old like 45, the fucking arm comes around and shit, you know? But yeah, it's definitely like walking into time warp. Nice. That's the only place you could ever beat me in chess. It was a Waffle. It didn't matter what state or whatever, but I could not beat him in a Waffle House. That hurt. Oh, like the thing fell out and caught my thumb. Just like, damn, that hurt. That was the stiffest thing I've had all night tonight.
In Staunton, Virginia, ready to watch the very first time that
Staunton? I thought it was Stanton.
Stanton, Staunton,
oh
tomato, tomato.
Is it Isle or Issel?
I have no idea. But there you are, getting ready for your big match, getting ready to work Tommy Dreamer.
Big match, it was big.
And a tag against Raven and Sabu. Long time it's been since you guys have been around.
It's so much fun. Well, I tell you my worst, the one that I hate the most is Boston, anything in Massachusetts.
Why?
Because you can't buy beer after like 9 o'clock at night. You can't buy beer, you can't buy six-packs out of bars after like 9 or 10 or something. It's fucking ridiculous here. Fucking, and just, there was always, every time we went in there, that big dig was going on. And you fucking couldn't make it out of the airport, the traffic fucking situation and shit was fucking brutal.
First of all, the reason we're all together is we all travel together. Everybody understand what's going on. Every show, everywhere we went, the four of us always traveled together.
For at least 3 years straight. Tell them about the hotel situation. 1601, 1602, 1603, 1604. Or it might have been 1604.
Surround sound.
And we had adjoining rooms, all four of the rooms, every week. Todd had
had it hooked up so we could travel between all 4 rooms ever. And
you never have to go in the hallway.
The funniest thing ever is fucking, I think it was either Dudley's or it was like Roadkill or something like that. They were telling a story to somebody at the show the next day, and one of them was like, yeah, I was standing outside the elevator, and I just hear this girl yelling, Todd Scott, Todd Scott, Todd Scott. So pretty much you can imagine what's going on in the room. We hear the girl say it, bitch. Todd Scott.
Anyway, I know what I'm saying. We would travel, squirt like, the more you smoke, the more you mumble. And he mumbles to start with, and then there's one who was Carney mumble.
Oh my God.
So we used to call him the Bumblebee, because he'd walk over us and he'd go, this is, and we all go, what the fuck did you say? He goes, cool, man. He'd walk away. We're like, what the fuck is Scorpio saying? Did you get it? I got the first 2 words.
Look at that shit, dude. See that? That's for real. And I didn't even wrestle yet, dude. I gotta go wrestle with this nonsense. Look, tried taping it up. Just started juicing on me again. Now I gotta go out right now. They're about to introduce me right now.
Back in 93, 94, 95, all those wing tapes, Big Japan, FMW. How do you think I got to be this way? I didn't just sit at home and jerk off. That's true. And then think, yeah, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. No. I didn't think of the flaming dildo by myself. I saw Matsunaga's head get lit on fire and said, this is what I want to do in my life. January 17th, 2003, the Bison, Johnny Bravado, Lowlife Louis Ramos, and 2 other unknown wrestlers were locked in a 4-way match. And the first person that I said when they offered me this match, I said, I want the Bison in this match because I needed somebody I trusted.
Why?
Yeah. All hell broke loose. The match was a classic, and it cemented me as a hero here in USA Pro for reasons unbeknownst to me. 2 years later, me and Bravado are back here. After we tore up the Firehouse, after the end of an era, after all the matches in all these other little indie federations.
You did it on purpose.
Now, we're back against each other, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. I'm gonna have a good time. And
here we go. Here we go. We got one man right here, Atlantic City, New Jersey.
The master.
Wait, what was the hand? Blackjack? Yeah, what was that hand that you had?
So what? I doubled on a 14.
He doubled on a 14.
Doubled on a 14.
The 7 came out the first time.
He doubled on a 14 and was broke after 1.5 hours of playtime.
1.5 hours. Try 8 hours.
Me
this guy lost thousands. I lost a couple.
You know what? I lost $1,500, but I lasted 2.5 days at that table.
I've got a great story. One time, it's funny that we're in a hockey arena. It's one time. We had a show. I don't know what happened. Somebody wanted to run in a homicides match or some shit like that. And a giant riot broke out.
September 1st, 1998.
Louis just finished his match. We all ran out. We all ran out. Yes, he was. He just finished. Mayhem breaks. Fucking everybody's grabbing weapons. Fat Frank's there. He's grabbing weapons, hitting fans and shit like that. Louis comes out in his holy underwear. It was the greatest spectacle seeing Lowlife Louis run out in his underwear.
Which one?
The blue. The one. No,
the blue. No, go with the chunkier one.
No, I don't want the little chunky girl. No. Wait, hey, didn't we discuss this in North Carolina? CW gets the big girls. I get the skinny ones.
You have a better shot with Chunky. She's got a back tattoo. She's got the target, the bigger girl. So you definitely got to go.
The other one probably has one too.
I don't know. Ask her.
Is that her dad in there?
That would be great. He's if I got with the dad.
There you go. Come on, it's your opportunity.
I'd be beating up older guys than you've beaten up. I said that to a guy. He had gray hair. He goes, "Pull let the hair fly." I said, "Brother, I've beaten up older guys than you." What do you got?
Real AWA thing? Yeah, look at that. Perfect.
Is he gonna sell replica? You were that big?
Look at that.
The jewels keep falling off.
You can see me in it. Well, they really do.
I can see you in it right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it comes with the lifestyle. It comes with the gimmick. This is real. Don't try this at home. I'm a trained professional. Thank you. I'm over, cuz.
Oh, what happened that night is that my phone rang about 1 o'clock in the morning, and it was emergency. And Eddie Gilbert had just run
on his brand new Lincoln Town car up the ass of some semi-trailer. And the car dragged him a couple miles down the road, not even knowing. His car's on fire, blazing, everything going on. And you know, Eddie respected me, and he was a good kid at the time. He liked me, so he didn't. I don't know if he knew what was going on, but he told him to call me. So I went to the hospital. So I took all his money and his wallet, what was left of it. I called Vince, you know, and then at the same time, right in the next emergency area, Nancy was there, and she was having her troubles, you know. And so I got back to the hotel, you know, it's like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning already, you know. What's happening? You know, I'm already punch drunk, and I look out, and these guys in suits are trying to talk to Snuka. And I said, excuse me, can I help you? You know, so yeah, Mr. Nancy Valentino's come last night, the Allentown Memorial. We're trying to talk to us. Oh God! Got on the phone. I had Vince's number. You know, I was talking to Vince. You know, so I said, hey, you know, they're over in Hamburg. I said, can we get, you know, you guys want to follow me? I said, hey, you know, I haven't been to sleep. So I was with Eddie Gilbert all night. I haven't been to sleep. I haven't had anything to eat. I said, there's a couple cold beers. You guys are fine. I said, hey, whatever you want. We're homicide detectives. We're not cop. You know. Right. I'm driving to Allentown, drinking beer. You know, going on the thing, and the cops are following me down. And we got together. You know, the police and stuff. You know. And eventually, everything worked itself out. But what he says, and I spent the day with him. That day was, you know, a traumatic day for everybody. What he said that they went to stop to pee on the side of the road. She came and hit some gravel and slipped and hit her head. Right. And to my knowledge, they found nothing really to contradict that. Just that they had a history of, you know, of fighting in motel rooms before. You know, she died in an emergency where Eddie Gilbert was at. Right. When Eddie was there, because when I was leaving to go see what was going on with Eddie, emergency was there already, taking her out.
So was head trauma or something?
I suppose, yeah.
The best rib. Why don't you ask Mr. Fuji? He's actually the captain of the ribs.
When did you actually start your ribbing? What year was that?
When I first came in, some of the guys were so easy to fall for every damn thing. The best one, I think, not a good one I did was with Anthony Jones, and you're in the Spirit area. Anthony Jones' car on the right there, you can't open the door, they had a 4-door. So they came to Portland, Maine. And I got an M88, two M88 bomb, hook it up to the shifter and the starter. And man, Tanaka watching, he go there, boom, boom, the whole flew stopped on. Two guys are trying to run out, Spirit trying to drive before him. They land on the floor, they're crawling their hands and knees. They had to look for a new distributor cap. They found one. And the fuck was laughing like hell. Spirits going crazy. Just an M80 bum. But I didn't know it was going to tear the distributor cap. But thank God there was a junkyard there. They got the distributor cap, hooked it up, they timed it. The guy did it all for them. I used to get about 50 padlocks in my bag. Padlock them to the chairs, padlock them all around, padlock their pants, every damn thing. Oh, the ribbon, I love it, because I get the ribbon back more.
How about Kurt Hennig? He likes to do ribs too?
No, I'm the one told him.
Awesome.
That's what I'm awesome with. No limit at all. One time, the 4 people, boyfriend, girlfriend, was coming home from LA to Texas. And there was mountain out very funny, I was drunk. All spent water had the scissors like this. We dropped a couple of valiums and we drink it, passed out. I cut all the hair all around. Took the bra, fat out of it, took his pants all off, chewed in the freaking toilet, put a blanket, the plane landed. We were gone, I don't know what happened, because I imagine getting up, no clothes, and no hair.
When you talk about creations, I mean, when you talk about one of my favorite creations of all was the War Games. That cage, that idea. I mean, I sat in the car with Jimmy. I did a lot of stuff driving down the road, like people wrote music, and I created this thing, man, and it came to life. And you see it today, and you're proud. But everybody don't say, how did that get there? You know, how'd the bull rope ever? How did you ever create a fucking bull rope match? You know. So were movies to me. They were creating movies.
What happened was we'd work 7 days a week. We never had a day off. In wrestling, people don't understand. It's not like football, where you have a little bit of time to heal weekly and then have your off season. We have no off season. So if you wrestle, you got a bad knee, bad ankle, broken fingers, whatever you got to go out there and do it, or they'll fire you. Back then,
right.
Contract.
I don't miss the travel. Now, I might have missed the travel if I didn't travel so much when I was there. But I did all my miles, I did all my time, I took all my bumps, I took all my beatings, I took all my abuse, and I don't miss it.
275 days a year, different city.
Yeah. We used to run there 4 times a night.
Yeah.
Four
And
cities
then
at night.
we would even like one time, I can tell you one of our schedules one time. We were in Washington D.C. on an afternoon show. Flew to Boston. Right after that, did a night show in Boston. The next morning, we were all the way in Denver, Colorado. We did an afternoon show in Colorado Springs. We did a night show in Denver. The next day, we were in Seattle. Did a show, and then right down to Phoenix, Arizona the next day. So it was, we were everywhere, man. They worked you hard. In the wintertime, you're doing double shows every Saturday and Sunday. It was tough, man. Here you're trying to train because people see you the way you are, then, so you try to train. You try to train around your injuries. You don't have much sleep. It's a hard thing to do. Guys in this business, because of all the travel, you caught up, especially the pain pills. It's a very, very big thing. All the Percocets, Percodens, all that. The uppers, downers, because you have no sleep.
Right.
You can't sleep, drinking and that stuff. Even the crack cocaine out there and that stuff. It's in this business, man, you gotta mentally be tough as well as physically be tough. If you aren't in the business, it'll eat you up, and then that's what happens to you.
Like myself, I was working 300 plus days a year. I can remember I'd get 2 or 3 days off, and Vince would track me down and wanted me to come back to work, pay me a couple $1,000s more for coming back to work a day early. And that's burnout. That's what happened, to a lot of us. We just got burned.
I'm fucking tough enough getting a fucking pacifier shoved down your goddamn throat for fucking 8 weeks, living in a fucking $400 million fucking house and getting food anytime you want it and go to fucking work out, and if you got a little sprain or something, well, go sit to the side. That's not fucking wrestling. That's not what wrestling was built on. Wrestling was built on wrestling 300 fucking days out of the year, busting your ass, never seeing your kids, never seeing your fucking family, and fucking on the road all the time. And you're married to, I was married to him. I was married to, Bart. I was married to Chuck, and he was married to, Jeff Jarrett, the whole nine. You're not married to fucking your wife. You're not at home with your kids. You're home with your kids to go, hi, I'm headed to fucking bed.
Yeah, I need to wash my gear and go to bed.
Yeah. And then these guys that come in that get fucking pampered, and hey, you did a good job on Tough Enough, that was a great little fucking series that you won, and you're gonna walk in with your nose stuck up in the air and fucking walk by? No, you fucking come shake my hand, I'm gonna fucking kick you in the balls and beat your fucking brains in.
Australia, for me. Definitely Australia. Had a lot of good times.
It's easier to say which places we didn't like, and I think there's only one, India. India's the worst place in the world to wrestle, or to live, or to do anything.
Right.
Yeah. Everything else was fun, because every place is unique. And when you're on the road with the guys, and especially if you're with guys that you like, you could be in a tiny little place in the smallest corner of the world. You're gonna have fun.
How you doing?
Is this the other guy who's ripping me out, Tony?
Of course. How's the flight? Easy?
Yeah, easy. Where's my money?
You want to pay now?
If you want to pay him now, my money, please. You get the rest at the building tonight. So what am I doing tonight? You're wrestling tonight. Okay. You might very well with a Jew.
Exactly.
It's good to see you.
Thank you very much.
What you got here? Yeah, but I got more money then. Yeah, but for me to have a decent interview with you, you got to take care of me because I'm not going to make no interview. Last time, you know what you give me last time? What did you give me last time?
It was like 750 or 8 or something like that.
No, it was not. We were in the hotel room.
That was like, what, 5 years?
1998.
Yeah. That was with the quarter in the head.
Yeah, that was $2,000 you gave me.
I don't think so.
That's what it was.
I don't think it was that much. It could have been like 800 or 1,000.
No.
I think it was like 800, and then we upped it a little bit.
Because you did a quarter thing at the end.
Different. I think it went up to about...
We'll definitely take care of you tonight.
Has you been in Japan a lot, or...?
No, I just came back from Korea. Opened up a restaurant in Korea.
Oh, wow.
Oh, really? We actually were at your restaurant in Atlanta.
Pardon?
We were at your restaurant in Atlanta.
When did you go there?
Probably about 3 years ago we were down there. We went down there, we had a whole crew there. You weren't there, though.
How much you spend? $a few dollars?
Actually, we spent good food. We had like 8 people with us.
Did Bob appreciate the wrestlers well? Or...
He appreciated everybody who made him money.
And that would be you.
Like all promoters.
Do you feel that you made the most money for Baba?
I don't want to say that I made him a lot of money.
Right.
Who was the man. Rick Gandhi was kind of, you got it under everybody's skin. So you have the pencils that he'd be writing off as soon as you do your interview. Sean, one of us, or both of us, as soon as Greg would go back and we'll look over, rewind the tape real quick and see how it went. Take the pencil off. This is a silly thing, but we was just bored too. We'd be there all day. Greg come in and, all right guys, where's my pencil? I son of a bitch, I need to leave. Go come back with another pencil. We ended up got about 8 of them. And then I remember somewhere along the lines we got a pencil sharpener and sharpened down every one of them to just enough. We had about 8 or 9 pencils. Just did a thing, and he went to look at the tape, laid them all back on the table for him. He comes back and he goes crazy. Damn it, that's it. I'm telling Dad. I ain't thinking this no more. So he runs and has a word with his father. So his dad wants to have a meeting and about the ribs. He had enough of ribs. Kurt Hennig is comes out of. We got to go to this one little office meeting. Kurt comes out of the bathroom, the men's bathroom. He's laughing like hell. And I'm like, what? What'd you do? He's like, go in there, looking at the toilet far end. Nick Bockwinkel, who was, the world champion, Nick was always like Mr. Boss and teaching and telling everybody what they had to do and this, that, and the other. So anyway, go in this last stall, and there's a picture, 8x10 promotional picture, which is Nick with his pose with the belt, laying in the top, just floating down the toilet with his shit right on top of it. I mean, all you could see was the turd, and then right underneath his name is Nick Bockwinkel. And I'm sitting there laughing like hell. And I go open the door, walk out, and there's Nick standing there. Oh shit! And then I heard Kurt saying all laughing. Kurt sent him after. He goes, Marty's in there. Goes, I don't know what he's doing. Go check. So Nick looked at me. He said, what have you done? I haven't done anything. I took off running. And then he goes in the back, I hear, Marby, that's just Marby. As he says, he comes back, very lovely, Janetti, very nice.
Kurt, man, you son of a bitch. Greg Gagne was pissed off now. Nick's all upset because he didn't sweat shit on his picture. But so Vern has this meeting and he tells us about the locks thing. That's the main thing. Jesus Christ, locks, blah, 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 blah. No more locks in the territory. You guys, no more ribs. I'm tired of this. You guys are a bunch of misfits. I got the worst people in the business. Blah, 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 blah. Any more ribs, I'm firing you all. You're all fired. Shut the territory down. I don't care. I'll quit. I'll quit the business no more. Absolutely not a single, and especially no more locks. That's it. Now this meeting's over. He goes and picks his bag up and it's locked. Somebody just reached around and locked it. During the meeting, they locked it to the damn desk. He said, Jesus Christ, that's what I'm talking about. He punched the wall, got busted his hand, goes running out the desk. And he gets out the door, we all bust out laughing. Kurt's like, what? What happened? Kurt, Kurt did something. What happened? I missed. Then that night, then Nick comes in too. He, after Vernon goes running out, Nick goes, you guys, I tell you what, no more, just don't mess with the big, he calls himself the big buck. Don't be trying to rib the big buck. Do not rib. I'll just warn y'all one time. Do not rib the big buck. That night we had to drive a 3-hour drive somewhere in Wisconsin and it was snowing. And we had our show, and everything seemed to go off, with no problems. Then we're driving back. It was me, Kurt, Sean, Tanaka, we're in Kurt's Blazer driving back. So Nick left way ahead of us. Oftentimes we do pass each other going to the same town. We're all going back to Minneapolis from wherever we were. But the thing was, it was a heavy snow. It was hard to drive that night. I mean, it was, you got to be real careful. And we seen Nick's car. We're coming up and like, wow, Nick should have. There's somebody. Why Nick should have been going a long time ago. Kurt's around and he starts laughing, which already that tells you something's up. Okay, so we're catching up with Nick's car and we're looking over and we're hearing this. What the hell? He's like, his car's gonna blow up or something. And Nick's like, he's driving like this. I mean, because like I said, it's the weather. He's like, and Kurt's like, roll the window down. Rolls the window down, you hear the tea kettle effect. Look right there on his doorknob. On his doorknob is a lock, and it's just banging up against the side of the thing. And he goes, double effect. Look at the front, and his little hood ornament on the front had a lock, and they're just banging away on the car. So he goes, now watch this. He blows the horn, and Nick looks over at us. He looks over at us, and there's a lock right in the middle of his glasses. And he just looks at us, and he's mad as hell. We just laugh. The whole carload died laughing, just take off.
I remember one funny story. Joe wouldn't happen to be there, but it just this just comes to head. And you think of a classic like Jimmy Snook and I'm driving around the car, Jimmy Snook in the car, and we don't know where we are. We're lost in the city, and I go, geez, Jan, I think we're lost. Thanks so. I said, yeah, I don't know Rick Lincoln. He goes, brother, it's gonna be okay. I said, Jimmy, what do you mean? You know where? He goes, yeah, I remember that tree.
Ric Flair, you guys gotta know Rick. He likes to party. So him and his wife were out at a place called Whispers. There's a bar in Charlotte. And I hadn't seen Rick in like 6 months. And I walked in there, that motherfucker, and he'd been drinking, he's goddamn, he's on the road. And Rick gets something in his mind he wants to do it. He says, let's go to my boat. I'm going, goddamn, Rick, it's 3 o'clock in the fucking morning. Go to your fucking boat. What? Let's go to my boat. So we get this fucking car, and bro, we're doing 140 mile an hour on that fucking interstate. God damn, we all going to jail. And I think we're going out to get on a boat. God damn, we get to the boat dock. Bro, this goddamn boat's too big for the lake. I mean, this motherfucker got a yacht. Well, no wonder, hell, if I knew it was like that, I went earlier. 3 stories high. And you had to call a guy, a captain out of bed to go out there and drive the motherfucker. So we get there, and it takes 15 minutes to back out of the fucking dock of this motherfucker. And we on this motherfucker, and we're down there, and we're drinking, and Rick's talking about, and we're out in the middle of the goddamn lake, going across this motherfucker. Outside the boat, you can't see your hands, right? So Ricky tells me, he says, come here, I want to show you something. I said, all right. So we go up these fucking steps, the bedroom, and we come out on top of the boat. It's like a little thing up there, And he's climbing up the ladder. He says, come here, I want to show you this, Rick. What it is, he had the cable disc put up there, and he's showing, and I'm holding on this pole, and when I did, this motherfucker slipped and fell. Brother, he must have did 20 fucking cartwheels. I'm watching. I'm holding up the pole, he goes, hit that water. And I'm thinking, fuck, we're going. This motherfucker fell off in a goddamn lake. So I go back downstairs. I said, motherfucker, Ricky fell off the boat. I said, where? I said, goddamn, I don't know where. Back yonder somewhere, motherfucker. He fell off, the son of a bitch. And you got to understand, when Ricky does talk about this $3,000, that's shoot.
All right.
This motherfucker worth $1,000 shoot. Brother, it takes 10 minutes to turn that goddamn boat around. We come back. Well, finally I told the guy, I said, cut the goddamn engine off the motherfucker before you can hear. Yeah, you could hear. Help. Help. They going, he's over here. No, he's over there. He's over here. We got a motherfucking lake. Finally I got a spotlight in the boat and I found this motherfucker. Brother, he's way over there. And the boat's so big, we put the side of the motherfucker keeps washing back. So I get the fucking lifesaver gimmick and I throw it to him. Somebody got no rope on it. Goes way over his fucking head. So finally the pole's on the side, I get it and I pull this motherfucker in. Brother, this son has got one sock, his drawers, one nut hanging out the side. This motherfucker, I pulled him in that boat, bro, he's like a drowned fucking rat. This motherfucker fucking blowed up. He's sober as a fuck. He ain't like he ain't had a beer. He's laying the floor. I'm lucky. Oh God, I love his wife looked down and said, "Yeah, you lucky son of a bitch. I didn't let you drown."
Kurt Hennig. Kurt Hennig and Scott Hall up in AWA. They were in Nick Barton champion at the time. So we were all doing up there, and Nick had to do his interviews last. Kurt and Scott Hall stole his belt. They stole his championship belt. They went out and hid it in the snow, and that damn belt wasn't found until springtime.
Totally. Just let it run.
Yeah, definitely.
So anyway, I drive her first to Raleigh, which was like an hour out of the way, drop her off at the airport. I start driving down to Charlotte. I've made my way about 3 hours, and she calls me, and she'd left her MRIs and her x-rays at home. So then I turn around and drive like 120 miles back home, which is 2 more hours, which that puts me at like 1 hour, 3 hours, 4. It's like 6 or 7 more hours there. And then I drove all the way to Atlanta, which was 6 more hours. So it's about 12 hours on the road, and I'm going to drive 2 more hours to Birmingham. But while I was driving down, and I was on the phone, I was calling whatever Christian, and calling up to Adam a message, and just talking just to everybody, just whatever, killing time. So anyway, I am approaching about an hour outside of Atlanta, and I get a call that says Edge home. So I'd called him on his cell phone earlier, and I just heard his name was going, "Yeah, what's going on, boy?" And the other end of the phone, I said, "Matt, this is Lisa. Hey, what's going on? Is everything cool? Everything all right? What you doing?" I said, I just found some really odd text messages between Adam and Amy, and there was a text message that said, I love you. She said, "Do you know anything about that?" I said, "No, but that sounds pretty fucking weird." Amy had text messaged Adam, I guess. He text messaged her, and she text messaged back and said, "Well, I'm gonna miss, seeing you while I'm on the road. Love you." That's really weird. I said, "I'll check in on this." And then I called Amy up right after that, who's at her mom's, and I said, "Hey, Amy, this is a little odd, but I just got a text. I just got a call from Adam's wife. And she said she saw a text message from him. She said, 'Oh yeah, I actually text messaged him earlier and just said like, I'm gonna miss being on the road with you and love you, dude.' She said, because I we'd rode together some. Because she did, and I knew they were riding together, and I was like, cool. It's like being with my brother.
Right.
Trust him completely. I would never think twice about it. So anyway, Amy fessed right up on the thing, just like, oh yeah, that's what it said. And I was like, oh, okay, well, just because I'd never been suspicious of stuff before, I was like, okay, well, that's cool. I appreciate the honesty. Adam eventually called me back. He's like, hey buddy. I said, hey man, I just actually talked to your wife, and she told me there was a text message between you and Amy. He said, is that true? Did you get a text message from her? I said, yeah, she just text messaged me just saying like, she's gonna have surgery coming up, and it's, her surgery's tomorrow, and what time it is. I said, oh really? That's what the text message said? He said, yeah, just let me know she's having her surgery and what time it was. And, I was just going to text message her back, like, I hope everything goes well. I said, okay. All right, cool. Then I called Amy back. I said, why did Adam just lie to me about that text message? She said, well, I'm sure he was just embarrassed, because his wife called and told you that. I said, that's what the text message said. She said, but I'm sure he just didn't want to tell you that because you think it would be weird. But I bought into it just because with her, man, like, we'd always been on the level. I was going, okay, cool. And then when I got to Atlanta, we got in the car and I was driving across to Birmingham. I asked you one time and one time over, what's the deal with that text message? She said, well, honestly, just when I traveled with him, she said, I probably got mentally a lot closer to him than I should have. And I only asked you this one time, was there ever anything physical happened between you guys? She said, no. I said, okay, cool. I'm gonna ask you anymore. They got her ready, and they're getting ready to wheel her into surgery, and I come over and I was holding her hand. It's still this awkward feeling because it's just awkward. She's looking at me and she's scared she's going to surgery, and she knows that I'm not all there too because of this going on. And deep down, she really must feel awkward. And then I actually went and checked her phone, and I went over and opened up her phone, and there was an incoming call from Adam. And I'm like, why is this motherfucker calling me? What's going on here? What's the deal with Adam calling me? She said, nothing. I said, why are you acting like this? She said, well, I just have a lot of stuff on my mind, and this, that, and the other thing. And she said, I think I might should go stay with my mom for a day or two and just think about things. I said, what the fuck is this? I mean, what is there to think about that we can't talk about? I don't understand. She says, well, I just want to go, let me take a look at I just want to go up to this park in Raleigh. So I'm just going to go up there and walk around and think about things and what I need to be doing in my life, because I'm not sure right now. I'm at a crossroads. I didn't pick up any of the calls. I went with some of the guys and I got fucking hammered that night. And she text messaged me like, are you coming home tonight? And whatever. I said, I want to talk to you. I said, so fucking be ready. I said, be at home and be awake. And I got home at 1:30 and I had this big buzz going on, so the truth was pouring out silly. And I just really laid her. I was like, what the fuck's going on? We've had this perfect relationship for the longest time, and all of a sudden you've got odd. She said, my head hasn't been where it needs to be. She said, I've been fucking up, she said. And starting today, I'm going to straighten things up. And we actually had some of the most passionate sex we'd ever had. And just because I was still paranoid, I still don't have any evidence on it, but I called Adam and said, hey man, I don't know what the fuck's going on, but I saw you called, Amy on Valentine's Day. And is there something going on here that I need to know about? He said, no, not at all, buddy, not at all, buddy. Whatever's going on, I said, don't call her anymore. I said, you don't call my girlfriend, and if she calls you, don't answer, okay? Oh, yeah, buddy. If there's anything I can do, please let me know, buddy. Buddy. A lot of buddies in there. Anything I can do, buddy. And it was like 5, 6 in the morning. I got up and I was going to get water, and I got some water, actually coming out, grabbing some water, and I'm drinking it. And then all of a sudden, her little purse gimmick, where that phone was sitting there. And it's weird because I've never been like a snooper in my life, especially on a relationship. But just coming off the events, I saw the other phone sitting there. I just thought it was weird that it was like sitting up on top of her bag. And I pulled it out and listened to it. And it was a message from him, and it's these messages saying, I just want to know, are you not going to be with me? If you're going to be with Matt, I guess you're going to be with Matt, but I don't know if I can live with myself. And it's just, I don't mean to make you feel guilty, but I just got to know because I can't sleep at night. I just want you to know I love you. I love you. I love you. And don't forget that. I mean, I love you. I love you so much. Like 8 times. Like a fucking psycho. And then there's another message. And another message. Because he'd been calling on top. And she just hadn't checked him. Because she'd been with me. And, then I stormed in the bedroom and yanked the covers off of her. And, I played those messages. Well, first, I sent those messages to both of my phones. And I sent them to Hurricane. Just in case nobody believed the story. Like, it wasn't going to be a fishtail. This shit really happened.
Right.
And I go in there and I ripped the covers off of her. And I said, now we're going to play a game called Tell the Fucking Truth and play those messages out loud. And I go like, what in the fuck is going on here? What has happened between you two? I said, I asked you one time, was there anything physical ever happened? I said, you don't say I love you, and there's not physical shit happening. And then, there was a small confession what was going on. She was crying. I was upset. I was going, get the fuck out of my house. You fucking make me sick. Get the fuck out of my house. I proceeded to kick her out. And I remember even an act of kindness where he said, well, I've got so much stuff here. I said, your stuff's fine. Just get out of here. I said, I can't stand and look at you right now. And I kicked her out. It was a big ordeal that morning. I ended up, and he comes, and he's just crying like a baby. He's going, oh, buddy, I'm sorry. It's not too late for you. You can fix it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I was like, what the fuck was going on, man? What in the fuck? How in the fuck did you do this to me? To me, as close as we were. Because he'd be one of those guys, they say there's, you can count on one hand that people were true friends in the business, and he'd been one of them. And for it to come from him, and then with Amy, who I, held on the same level, if not higher than me, and eventually the story breaks. And it's out on the net now.
Right.
And they go, oh, well, Matt and Lita have broke up, and apparently Edge was the guy that had some sort of affair, and she cheated on him with Edge. Because now they didn't want me to come to the Raleigh show TV because they're worried there's going to be a physical altercation, a fight between me and Adam. And I told Amy, I said, tell that motherfucker, let's take care of this because now it's fucking with my professional career. I said, let's all meet before this Raleigh show and sit down and figure out what the fuck we're going to do. Because everybody knew the draft was coming up. And like somebody could go to the other show or whatever, or we're going to avoid things, or we're going to figure out what was going on. And that was one of the most tense things ever. We were in the Microtel in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I was sitting in there, and like Amy was in the bed, and he came walking in. Oh, and that was the first time I saw him. Believe me, it was all I could do not to fucking leap across that room and go off on him. And he just sat down, and she kind of sat in the middle, and we went through. I just remember he wouldn't look at me too much. It was just, I was cutting a hole through him. Do you want me to try and patch this thing up? I said, or do you not? Do you want to be with her? I said, what does it do? He said, well, I mean, if you guys can patch things up, that's fine, but I'll tell you, I love her. I love her. And he was just standing on the call, and I was just like, you motherfucker.
Steve Collins and gentlemen like Norman or something I caught a ride with across Alligator Alley to Tampa to do some jumps. Well, I'm sitting there with the nasty boys. You know, you got Brian Noms, he's got his big crap stain in his underwear. Being the nasty boys right over there, you know, you got the star riders over there going body slam, body slam, body slam, you know, like at a robot do a match or something. And, you know, I'm just a new guy, right? And I'm sitting there, and then here this door flies open, and it's this drunk chick, mohawk, hair hanging down, and I'm sitting there, and I got short, brownish hair, you know, and I'm just lacing up my boots. I was getting ready to take the helicopter that night from Alvarez. Yeah, I was really nervous already, so helicopter, this guy's gonna pick me up and spin me, whatever. So I'm lacing my boots, and she flies this door open, and she goes around, fresh meat. So I actually hid the whole night behind the nasty boys and back there, and that wasn't a fun spot to hide. I was scared to death of her. That was the first time I ever met her.
See, I think my husband's got a ton of talent. I think that he's extremely cool to watch in the ring, and I gave up my family and didn't get what I wanted the most, and that was the WWF Women's title, which I guess basically isn't all that I thought it was.
WrestleMania 2 was with the 3-city look-in. We were out in LA, and then right after that show, we were flying to Australia for a week, and then turn right around and fly back. And the midnight flight out of LA, we were going to Australia, and we were flying. You know, here we are, the anxiety and anticipation of a big show. Fly 18 hours. We flew from LA to Australia, landed in Sydney, which is Sydney is on the East Coast. Let's say it's like landing in Philly here, okay? Right. Got on and that's flying from the United States, like you gassed off in a pickup and a drop off in Hawaii, down to Australia to Sydney. Change planes, fly from Sydney to Perth. That's like flying Baltimore to LA, all right? And this is after the big show. Fly, land in Sydney. Oh, we're here. No, we're going, what? We're going to Perth. Go to Perth, wrestle, get on after the show, get on a plane and fly back to Sydney. All this in the one day. Well, a day and a half that it took. It was time to where when we landed in Sydney and then fly another 4 hours across the country, like flying across the States to Perth, that we would land, it was like 5:30, their time in the afternoon, go wrestle, might as well take everybody straight to the building at 5:30 in the afternoon, 6 o'clock, wrestle that show, after the show, bus everybody back to the airport because we're catching the midnight flight, Australia time, back to Sydney.
A little bit of buzz, but traveling has had ebbs and that, man, and God, I just got so sick of getting on airplanes, and I just got so sick of leaving, man. Like, I'd get home and blink, and I would have to leave, and man, I wouldn't have time to do anything like I was wanting to do.
How you doing? Good. Just you, yourself? Yeah. Okay.
I dumped the witch.
Cool. He's a free man in Philadelphia. That's bad.
Absolutely.
Easy flight?
Oh, yeah. Nobody on it?
Good. Oh, it is your girlfriend?
Yeah, I traded her.
Oh, I thought she didn't come.
No, that's a different one.
That's a different one. Oh.
I'm coming back to this one.
I didn't even know you had somebody with them.
Yeah.
Who is that? Crazy. Did you know her? No. Oh, he said he was by himself. That's what I thought too. I don't know. I'm very confused.
My feet are frozen.
Oh, boy.
I was only at the end of Terminal F.
How you doing?
I had one get loose in my Corvette as I went through downtown Atlanta one time, and you'd come up around my seat and wrap yourself around the brake pedal. And as I tapped the brake, he took offense to it. Sort of hissed him off, you know. And, at that point, he kind of like lunged at me, and that's when I realized he was actually down there. And of course, when I went, oh shit, the car's all over the road, and I'm taking my foot, trying to push his head back, he's trying to snap at me. And now he's up against the accelerator, and he's got hit 2 now, and we're doing about 110 through downtown Atlanta. When the policeman pulled me over, and I jumped out of the car, and yelled, "There's a snake in my fucking car, man." And the guy's like, "Yeah, fuck you," you know. Oh my God, look at this, you know. He kind of left me right there.
You were there for the whole Jacques Rougeau and Dynamite. That was pretty bad, right?
It sucked. The reason it sucked is because Davey Boys would have stirred that whole pile of shit up and instigated the whole thing. And then whenever it came down to shoot or miss, the guy that got shot had nothing to do with it.
Right.
And as usual, he was trying to carry the flag for the team. And as usual, Davey Boy was shitting and pissing himself in the corner because he was. It's a horrible thing to say, but God, I don't miss it. You know? Yeah, because the ribs got to be too vicious. The guys get tired on the road, they get angry, whether it be company or each other or whatever, the ribs just get even uglier. Another place will be out of business soon. You guys, one good thing about coming into a World's Gym is that they have protein drinks, such as Budweiser and Rubenvater. It's very good for you. And, you should always split one of these with your opponent. That way you both are on the same page. Yes.
Hi, I'm Jessica from Official Philly Image. I'm Jessica. Official Philly Image TV.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You see it?
Did I see your snake? No. Oh, no.
Get with a snake pit.
So your real snakes that you have, which one's your favorite and why do you like it?
My favorite is this brand new Cobra I just bought. It's a 16-footer. It's not bitten yet. That's the reason I like it so much. The last one, son of a bitch, was about 7 feet.
Oh, God, yeah.
I'm going to show you my snake.
No, I'm okay. No, I'm okay with the snake. I'm all right. And when you were growing up, who did you idolize?
Willie Mays.
Yeah, what's your next move there?
You gotta walk down the aisle.
No. We're just going to say we did.
Okay.
At my age, we just say we did. Did I say we did?
Okay, you can
I did it, man. I did it.
Okay. Good job, Jake. Good job.
Jake Robert,
The one time we did a thing where me and Andre were wrestling Killer Kowalski and Chuck O'Connor. They were wearing some black outfits. And at the end of a match, when Andre would beat him, Andre would pick me up on his shoulder, and I'd go way above his head, you know, he'd hold me up his leg, and the crowd would go nuts. Andre beats him, hey, the crowd goes nuts. Andre picks me up on his shoulder, and as I get up there, I go, whoa! And I fall off on purpose, and I take this big bump, and I'm laying there in the ring. And on the way down, I could see Andre's face. He's going, he dropped me. He never wanted to hurt anybody. He knew he was being big. So I'm laying there like I'm knocked out, and I'm trying to do it as long as I can. Finally, my one eye opens, and Andre's face is like right here, but it's this huge, and it's like he's so concerned. It's like, you know. Finally, I start cracking. So he's mad at me, so Puffy Stone. So that night we go back and we're back in the motel. Me and Greer in this room and checking some stuff out. And a bunch of the guys stop over. They want to go over to Denny's. So Andre comes in and we're laughing about the rib I pulled out. And Andre's sitting at the edge of the bed, and I just got out of the shower. I got out of the shower and all I have on is a little pair of underwear. And as I walk past Andre, he shoves me out of the room and locks the door. Now I'm stuck out in the hallway of this busy hotel in my underwear, and they won't let me in, and no one's going to let me in because I'm going to go open the door. So no one would let me in, and as I do, I hear the door open, and here comes Andre and the guy. So I says, you got me. So as I try to get past Andre to get in the door, he tries to stop me. He tries to grab my underwear to keep me from getting in. So actually, I took him down. So I dropped down, and I hit him by the ankle and pushed him on his knee, and he goes, whoa! And he falls down as I try to scramble. He grabs my underwear, and he just rips them. And he rips them like in little pieces, and he's laying there laughing, and I'm going, oh, you bastard! Everybody's laughing, and the door shuts again. Now we're locked out. And they all run down. I'm standing there in front of my door naked with like this little piece of left underwear, standing there waiting for the guy to come and let. Well, that was a class. But he was a fun guy.
Hey, well, Elegante, remember him? Yeah. Me and Jason Hervey used to stop anytime we were going to go to the show and get one of those like huge ass things of shaved cream. And Jason would go find his shoes, his boots, and we'd fill them up with shaved cream.
They wanted to kept stopping to. They didn't like football, and I didn't. The office didn't, the boys didn't, and I was the one that liked them. And he kept having to stop to piss, right? Like every 15 minutes, so everybody's getting pissed. So I said, piss in the bottle. So he peed in the bottle. I said, hey, to the referee, the Japanese referee, I go, hey, he peed on the bus. Hey, motherfucker, get out of here. But I didn't tell him he peed in the bottle on the bus. And then they go, don't do it no more. And he goes, okay, I won't. So he pees in the bottle, and I'm sitting up front, and he shows me the bottle, right? And I go, hey, look, and they catch him with the bottle of piss. So yell at him again, so finally go to the rest area, and he doesn't get off the bus. And he pours the piss out the window, and they think he's pissing, but he's just pouring it. And they kicked him off the bus and fired him. Wow. And I kept, it was my fault.
In the very beginning of WrestleMania, after WrestleMania 1 was finished, and they're running like 3 towns a night, at the Hojo's in Pittsburgh, you'd be out, they just come to your door, haul you out, they just had a backdrop in a room. I remember doing like 90 days in a row, boom, I just wrestled. This is my biological clock. And it's 10:30, 11 o'clock, I'm getting out of the building, and maybe call Mama, I'm going to eat, and it's going to be 12:30, 1 o'clock. Yeah. What time is my plane eat? Oh, you got a queue fare. It leaves at 5:50 because you can save $7. I got to make that because I'm by myself. How am I going to get there? So a guy might take a hit of coke. A lot of cocaine on. Boom, and you're there, you can make that next town. What do you got to do? Well, you got to train. I need a couple hours sleep just before I get to the matches. You know, I can't go down. You know, whether it's the testosterone kicking in or what it is, because it's what is New York? All big man's territory. What's the thing they said about Roddy Piper? He's too small to be what was a bomb. So I gotta go. I gotta go to sleep here. I go to sleep. What time? Ring. 6:30. I gotta go. Bomb. Okay, I'm off the arena. Bomb for the injury. Bomb. I'm off for the match. What time's the play leave? Yeah, boom. I'm there. And bring in the occasional glass of whiskey. And the array of from Placidils, 2-0, Seconals, Tylenol 4, Valium, B complex with C, injectable, and a shopping bag with your name on it. Man, oh man. Biggest one that hit me a couple weeks ago, there was some kids come down from Vancouver, British Columbia, and the wrestling was finished and they were going back, and I was sitting in a restaurant, and Lewis, kid there, I says, just by the by, so what beer are you supposed to be on now? He goes, oh, we don't drink beer. Huh? What do you mean you don't drink beer in the car? Oh, yeah. Oh no, you know, you get a ticket. Well, you're on 300 miles. I've never been on a trip you don't drink beer. And so it was like, oh, you're human beings, and you're away from your families, and we know more about each other and taking care of each other, and we did.
Everything you know is wrestling, and all your friends, and everything, your whole life is wrestling, and the hotels, and the cars, and the fans, and the buildings, and the gym, and the whole thing. Everything is wrestling. I think there's a point where you realize that you can jump off, get off, or you can keep going, and you sell your soul to the wrestling business, and you become part of it forever to your last dying breath.
They have been battered, and they have been bruised. They have been miles away from their families to fulfill their dreams and entertain us. Through the road, their peers have become their families. They have become heroes to other people's children. There are ups and there are downs, but by living life in the fast lane, these wrestlers paved the way for the future of the industry. Much like the legacies of our wrestling heroes, their stories will live on for generations to come.
Because of the rockers, the character, these rock and roll party guys, the image that they give. So I guess a lot of women believe that that's how we would be, so they try to find us from place to place where we hang out and wherever lounges. And so the guys used to love hanging around us just because they knew there'd be tons of women around. And in Denver in particular, and this is, I mean, you can ask any guys that were around at that time, this is very true. The executive, I could give it another plug here, I don't know if they still exist. The Executive Towers in Denver was right across the street from the arena that we wrestled at. And so it was a lounge there, so it was easy. Everybody just knew that all the wrestlers stayed there, so they'd come right across the street. And boy, did we partied, man. And the boys, like, if you wanted to know where the rockers, what room, what floor, there's like 7 floors. What floor, where the rockers? They said, don't, just take the elevator. Oh, Kurt Hennig, as a matter of fact, what it said is, all you do is just open every floor, elevator, and when you see all the women sitting out in the hallway, that's their floor. And it was true because, this is how it worked back in the day. They're in Denver, and a couple other places, but Denver was the best. It honestly would be women lined up outside the door. And basically, you'd see whoever you wanted to hang out with for a little bit, have them come in the room. And I'm sure like the actual rock and roll guys, not the rockers, wrestlers, they get the same, this is how it works. They'll know what I'm talking about. You bring them in and you do your thing or whatever, and then you say goodnight, you open the door, there's 10, 15, 20 girls sitting there, and oh, hey, Georgia, how you doing? Come here, I haven't seen you in a while. Come in and whatever, and however long or whatever, open the door. Who are you? I haven't met you. You come here and meet you, somebody new. We'd have 7 or 8 or 9 o'clock flights in the morning, straight from the last person. There'll still be 1 or 2 stragglers out there at 8 in the morning that you just didn't get around to, and you had to go catch a flight. So it was, those days. Like I said, he was, at the time he was married, he never did any of that. So.
Just in the plane, drinking, and drugging.
Right.
Yeah, the gimmick, my beer, the Alzians, and I don't know what else. And I was out, man, and they shaved my eyebrows. And not only that, I heard, I don't remember this, but they told me that I had my dick out in my hand. And that the stewardesses came by and said, "You can't be like that." And Chris got a blanket and put it on. But it's just stuff like that, that I remember. Right. They left a little Hitler mustache. They shaved my eyebrows, they cut my bangs, they cut a little triangle on my head, right. Shaved a triangle on my head. So you can imagine, I look like Frankenstein. And then they left a little Hitler mustache on me. Oh,
that's
man.
Great.
Jeez.
That was my fight with Dynamite started with a rib, but the best rib, why don't you ask Mr. Fuji? He's actually the captain of the ribs, what's the word there? But I guess not better than all the other guys. When that Outback Jack had his shit in his crocodile's head on his back traveling, I was so pissed off and upset at it, but at the same time, my brother ran. and we'd see him like this, sitting in the plane going like, and never finding it. It's in his mouth with the crocodile behind him, and going through airports and shit, I mean, shit, it's like, it was bad, but it was, I guess we all have a little devil in us, but I think that one small rib leads to a bigger one, and to a bigger one, and to a bigger one. Where does it stop?
I remember a funny Andre story. Andre used to like to have a few drinks in the morning.
Right.
So he's on a plane one day, and in first class, you can pull the armrest up and move it. So he's trying to pull that up. So the stewardess comes by and she says, anything I can get you? So Andre wanted a drink, so he said, screwdriver. About 10 minutes Later, she comes up and hands him a screwdriver. So Andre says to her, "What would you have brought me if I'd have said Bloody Mary?" So I said, "Can I talk to you for a minute?" So I called her into the galley.
Right.
I said, "When a guy gets on the plane and he's 7'5" and he's 550 pounds and he's smashed, don't bring him tools. It's simple.
Yeah.
What if you want a buzzsaw or a jackhammer? No.
And Tuesday morning, I was in my office, you know, getting ready to do my magazine stuff, and I got a call from Vince's assistant, who said Vince wanted to see me ASAP in his office. Now, I had meetings with Vince, but never Vince wanted to see you ASAP, so I had no idea what this was about, you know. So I go up in Vince's office, and you know, he's, you know, around the table there was Shane McMahon, there was Patterson, there was Bruce Pritchard, there was Cornette, and there were a couple of other people, and Vince had the WWF magazine in his hand. And I'm sitting there, and I mean, I'm just thinking, what did I do? I mean, because I'm, you know, to get called up to the boss's office, he's got the magazine, he's got all these people there. I'm like, I'm thinking I'm in deep shit, you know? Well, basically what Vince did was he took the magazine, threw it down on his desk, and said, "This is what the show needs to be. What's in this magazine?" And basically, I mean, I was shocked. I mean, I could tell you right then, I wasn't loved by everybody in the room, because, I mean, for him to do it in that kind of environment probably wasn't a good thing for me.
Right.
But I felt that, you know, Vince knew that some kind of a change needed to be made, and, you know, here was a guy, you know, with fresh ideas that, you know, wasn't afraid to speak his mind, that, you know, could perhaps throw some stuff on the table. So basically, you know, Vince threw down the magazine and said, "This is what it needs to be," and, you know, at that point, I more or less started writing TV with Vince.
How did the idea of the Horseman come about?
The way the situation was set up for interviews with Jim Crockett, there were, I think, 228 interviews, and you would sometimes have more than one guy in a given interview segment talking about his match. Well, obviously, Tully and Rick had been partners. Ole and I had been partners. Rick and Ole had been partners, so we were set up to have, I think, Tully must have been wrestling Dusty, Rick was wrestling somebody for the world title, maybe Magnum. Ole and I think, were wrestling the Road Warriors. So they used us all on this one interview. And it just came to mind, the old Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, you know, scenario, pestilence and all this. I used that kind of in that interview. Okay, when we come to X town, you know, when it's over, this is what will be left when the Four Horsemen ride into town. And it just popped in my head. It was just an excerpt. When the interview was over, Tony Schiavone came around the camera and he said, "You just stumbled onto something here. You've named this group."
Right.
And we went with it. You know? He pointed it out. We used it from that day, and it was a fluke.
We were just partying and having a good time everywhere we went. We would find a club where to party, and it was always the same guys: Kidman, Disco, Conan, me. Hoovy wasn't kicking it with us at that time,
right?
Pretty much. He was off and on, and Psycho was off and on with us too. Psycho was a little bit more because we always used to room together. But Disco was the one who's like, God damn. He would leave the clubs a little bit earlier than us, and then he would come back, like we would meet up the next day in catering in the building. He'd be like, damn, what time did you guys leave the club? Like, oh, we probably left about 6 or 7. God, you filthy animals. And it just came all about like that. So, and well, we were coming back to our rooms while people were checking out from production and shit. They were actually checking out of the rooms, and we were just coming back. You know, sunlight was already out. And it just all came about, and it was just the same little clique all the time.
Anvil was more of the show type character. I remember one night with Anvil, when I was managing Brett and them against the Rougeau brothers, before I managed the Rougeau brothers, we were at White Plains, which was Arm Scolin's town. And in there they had a little short, he was a commissioner, but he was also the referee, but he had a black toupee on. He used to always referee up there. And he goes, whatever you boys do not touch this toupee. Do not knock this toupee off. So You know, everybody was going, why would nobody wants to anyhow? Because people laugh and kill the match. During the match, we did a spot, an old spot where, you know, we had, Brett had, Neidhart had Rougeau in the corner, okay? The referee gets in between to separate it. When he does, you know, you throw the punch over the top. Right. The referee moves out like, what did you do? And he falls out, you know, typical spot. Well, earlier that night, we were rushed to get to the ring because Brett was always late going to the ring. Always late. That's why we were last all the time, because you couldn't get him there. I mean, they found him, they did everything, but he was going to get there when he wanted to get there. So Neidhart had to tape his arm up. When he did, a lot of the tape was backwards and all over the place, and the sticky stuff was on the back. So what happened? The referee goes into Rougeau going, hey, hey! Neidhart throws the punch over the top. When he did, his arm went over the top. When it came back, the guy's toupee stuck to the elbow pad, and it came off. Now, I'm on the floor laughing. Brett's on the outside of the ring, falling off the ring. Raymond Rougeau's on the outside going, the people are going crazy. On Neidhart's arm, he don't know what, he's looking, and he goes, oh, the guy's ball. They look on the floor, everybody's looking for the thing, but it was stuck on his arm like a damn rat going around. The referee went crazy. He picks it up. When he puts it on his head, it's sideways. I mean, the whole Arnold Scholar, the whole thing. We got upstairs, I'm going to find you, suspend, da-da-da. Arnold had to give the guy about $500. But it was an accident. But it was really crazy. It really was.
What happened? Here's a good one. I don't even know if you remember this, but what happened with you and Green Day down in Florida?
Oh, Green Day almost got their fucking asses kicked. Tommy Dreamer and I how'd you know about this? It's pretty funny.
Tommy Dreamer.
Oh, okay. Dreamer and I were sitting in the lobby. It was late. It was Tampa. And we were in a hotel. I forget what hotel, Days Inn or whatever. And we used to room together, Tommy and I. And we couldn't sleep, whatever. I was late. I forget what happened. We were just hanging out in the lobby. It was quiet. And we're just chilling, talking, sitting on the couch, just hanging out. And then the girl was working behind the desk. It was like this young girl, like 16, you know. And she's like walking out, all wrestlers and all that shit. But all of a sudden, this van pulls up, this minivan, like a Renault van, you know. Yeah. These guys get out, you know. Kids, you know. Yeah. Dressed shitty, beer, you know, cursing loud. And I'm still laughing. Like, what are you fucking guys? They're shot, you know. And this older guy with him. And Tommy's like, that one guy was familiar. I don't know why I know that one guy, the singer, whatever his fucking name is. And I think he had green hair at the time or something, or blue hair, whatever. I don't know if you ever had.
Yeah, I think green
hair. And that little fucker, you know. And they go to the desk, you know, and you know they're talking, and they get talking with the girl. They start cussing this girl out. You know, where's our room? Do you know where the fuck we are? Blah 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 blah. I'm saying to Tommy, who are these fucking guys? I don't know. Tommy's like dead, you know. Yeah. He's just Tommy, you know how he is. He's just always like Jim Morrison attitude, you know. And so now if I see someone is getting aggressive, I'm like a dog, you know. I get aggressive, you know. I want to get involved. I got to put my 2 cents in. And they just start cursing at the girl. I mean, and the girl seen them and popped. She knew right away who they were, you know. And they just dissed her big time, you know. And I just got pissed. I just stood up and said, why don't you watch your fucking mouth? And I'm cursing too, you know, but I'm pissed. Like, why don't you watch your mouth? You know, the girl said, you know, they don't have rooms for you. Maybe you're in the wrong hotel. Yeah. So the kid with the green hair, the little guy, he says to me, maybe you should mind your fucking business. I said, so maybe I should put my foot right up your fucking ass. You know, and I got up in his face, you know, and he's like, he backed up, and then Tommy got up, and just see Tommy, you know, he was huge at the time, and we almost fought him. And then it just ended up being like, then their manager was like, oh, I'm sorry guys, and you know, we were worried because the Seminole police there, you know, they have their own, like the Indian reservation, they'll just lock you up for anything. So Tommy's like, you know, chill out, let's chill out. And I think they might have came and just calmed things down. Yeah. That was it. It was funny. Found out, like Tommy's like, well, who do you, he goes like, God, familiar, whatever. And then like the next day, we're in the room, get ready, TV news. Well, it wasn't on the news, but they were talking about Green Day. I'm like, that's the fucking guy, you know. And then we knew it was them, and I liked one of their songs. That's the shit that pissed me off. So, whatever, that was it.
I'll tell you exactly what happened. We were in a bar, and I just, we were waiting on some food. We were all at the table drinking, and somebody brought up the question, I think asked Arn the question, what's wrong with our business? Why aren't we drawing like the other company, this and that, this and that? The one thing about me is, man, I mean, if you can't be honest, you can be honest with me because you can't hurt my feelings. Because I'll just say, man, it's not true. I am better than what you think I am. But what I thought was wrong with the business, and that's what I said, that's what upset him. I said, well, what's wrong with our business? We got a fucking old man named Ric Flair that needs to get the fuck out of the way and let some of the guys fucking. The thing about the business is that why you have to, revolve talent, because people do get burned out. And I think that's proven. Absolutely. And I think that was proven there. The fact that they released him for him to go to WWF, they never would have thought that would have ever happened, but it did. And now, But anyway, so we got to that's what started the argument, and then we got the little, verbal argument, and I think he slung a beer in my face in the bar. And then as I was going to my room, him and a bunch of guys were in the hallway, and he broke a beer bottle and threatened to cut me then. And my room was only just a few rooms down from him. Like, I came past his room, took a left, and about 4 doors was my room. We got in there where my food was. I thought it was going to come to the bar, but it actually came to my room, and I was sitting there eating part of that sandwich. And I said, man, this motherfucker, I've got a bad temper too. I said, he threatened me, he threw beer in my face, and now he just fucking threatened me with a fucking beer bottle. I broke it. I said, no, I've got, draw a fucking line. So there's a chair sitting like that right there, and I fucking ripped the fucking leg off of it. And I was going to go in there and whack him in his fucking head a couple times. So when I got back down there was no one in the hallway. And his door was shut. So I knocked on his door, I said, come on out here, motherfucker. Bring your beer bottle, whatever. Some words were exchanged. I couldn't hardly hear him. I heard him falling around, stumbling around, I thought. And I said, man, he's fucked up. As bad as I am, And by the time I get to realize what I was doing, I said, this is fucking stupid. So through the fucking, and you can look at the records that the police had. The stick that he says I hit him with, which never touched him, was 20 feet the opposite way of where the fight happened. And the stick had not one drop of blood, not one dent on it where it had been hit or nothing. And I'll go into the rest of it. So Arn come out, I left, turned my back, heard the door open, I turned around, Arn sitting there with a pair of scissors. And I went just like this. I said, man, hey, this has gone too fucking far. And then I just remember him coming after me. All right, so he came after me. I don't really remember getting stabbed in the beginning. And we were in some 2 doors in a corridor, and he backed me up there, and I had nowhere to fucking run. And when he came into me, he got close to me. When he did, I think I hit him 1 time, and he fell down like at my feet. And when he did, I looked at him, and then out of the corner of my eye, I saw the scissors fall. They were falling out of my stomach. And I got the scar right there. So when I saw the scissors fall, now I realized I'd been stabbed. But I didn't feel it in my face and my hands. But then he lunged back for me a second time, and they were at my feet, and I got him first. And then it happened so fast, it was like a nightmare, And I remember, I think somebody said, or him or somebody that walked down the hallway said, man, you're killing me or something. And I had the scissors in my hand. And I looked down and I saw him, and I thought, fuck, now he's fucked up. So I threw the fucking scissors as far as I could. I bent over to actually try to pick him up and haul him to the fucking front desk to call the ambulance. When I did, blood came gushing out of my stomach. And now I realized I've been stabbed, so I'm scared to fucking death. I had all white on. So I run down the fucking hallway, and then the rest is rest. These are some other things that people don't know. We were supposed to be flown different flights back, put in different hotels. When I was in the hotel, when I was in the hospital, the police, or whatever you call it, law enforcement over there, they came into my room trying to get me to press charges against him. Huh. And I said, no, man, I'm not going to press charges against him. I said, we both, made a mistake. I don't know how bad he's really hurt. I really didn't. He said, well, your friend don't have one scratch on him. You're out of my friend. Exploratory surgery already. I've got stabs in him. I said, he's not got a scratch on him. And I thought, maybe, like I said, that it happened so fast, I really don't remember it happening. Yeah. And I thought, this motherfucker. So I was going to press charges on him. Yeah. And then that night, the nurse came over into my room and said, man, your friend is really messed up. And then I knew the place where I. Yeah. So I dropped the charges. All right. Now, we get to go home. I thought I'm in the hotel by myself. I go to, Arn leaves his boots at the hospital, so I took them with me to get them turned down the road somewhere.
Yeah.
I found out he was at the same hotel that I was at. So I just left him at the front desk, and he said, would you give these to Arn Anderson? So I went to a machine to get me a drink, cold drink, Coke or something. As I was coming back through, Joey Maggs was there. Joey Maggs was picking up the boots. I said, man, is Arn okay? He goes, no, man, he's messed up. I said, man, tell him I'm sorry. You know, if all the people in the world, Arn was the last person I wouldn't want to do that to anybody unless I had to. But I did not want, he would have been the last person in the world that I, because he had only been good to me as a person. I don't know what he might have said ever behind my back, face to face. He was always a gentleman, and I can only assume that he was like that at all times, or felt like that. So I said, well, what does Arn say? And Joey said, Arn says he was so fucked up he can't remember anything.
Wow.
And so that's, you know, the true story.
There's a notorious rumor you could stick a coin in there.
I'll let you put the coin.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll do it here.
Don't
Please.
untangle that. No,
No, okay, I'll come on to the other side.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, what's
The big one right here.
center one here?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, unbelievable. Unbelievable.
What are you doing?
Oh no, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold the phone there, boys.
Tell this story.
It was real meaningful. It was meaningful enough to where somebody would, when we got in the car after we won them, we get in the car, we're riding, it is put up in our back window. Yeah, you guys wouldn't want to put those on silent while we're doing this, would
Yeah,
you?
that's wrong. That's the black
of course. Is that,
Yeah.
well, while we were driving, his tag team belt championship was in the back window displayed. We were driving to the
I
Atlanta
would prop
airport.
it up like a shoe behind it so you could see it.
So everybody could see it and honk by, you know, and of course he'd go, yeah, me, all the way to the Atlanta airport. Wore it through the Atlanta airport. Walked through the people that check it. He went, yes, I'm champ. You may look at it, but don't put your fingerprints all over. And put it back on, walk through the Atlanta airport with that on, going, I am the champ. And of course, now mind you, he is the only one that could do that and get away with it.
Right.
You know, and yes, it was very exciting. I mean, it was exciting to both of us.
Yeah, no, it really was. Like I said, I'm a mark. And that's the pinnacle. That was our pinnacle. I'm not a singles wrestler.
Right.
I was pretty decent in singles in the hardcore crap, but that's because I had the hardcore crap to help me. You know what I mean?
Right.
I wasn't alone, I didn't feel. But I was always, we were always a tag team wrestler. My summers are kicking in.
Good.
And I'm losing my train of thought. What was I talking about?
Watch your Robbie. Gracias, amigo. eliminating the next.
¿Qué onda?
The problem with wrestling today is people like you. You paint your face, you wear something where you think you're wrestling. Believe me, I'm not from the old school. I'm from the school that burned down before they built that son of a bitch. Alright? Now here's what you've got to deal with right now. Would you like to hold this? Stand there. Oh, okay. Now I'll show you something.
It's got the two icons of professional wrestling. Whoa, 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 whoa. There's one icon of professional wrestling. I am the only icon of professional wrestling. This is Philadelphia, Jake. This is my hometown. Tonight, it looks like I'm gonna be a legend killer. I'm not much of a damn legend. Look at him. Jake, remember this. I am the only icon. I'm sure you're tired, Jake, when you turn 65. Hey, Jake, remember the good old days, huh? You and Randy, all the macho man, dig it. Hey, they think you're gonna tie me up in the ropes. You're gonna get some defanged cobra. Don't work on my arm, Jake. Jake, where's your snake at, Jake? The commissioner wouldn't let the snake get away, huh? Come on, Jake. You know what? I want you to quit. I want you to quit, Jake. Come on. Not real. Quit, damn it. I'll set it right with you. No, you're gonna quit, Jake. God damn it. You're gonna quit right now. Quit, Jake. Come on, quit, Jake. Come on, quit, Jake. Go to hell. This is Texas. The Texas home of champions right here, baby. Texas Longhorns. I love Texas. I got to tell you the truth. I love Texas. Texas was the first place. When I was 16 years old, I was wrestling the Sportatorium in Texas. First place I ever been in my life that at Christmas time had no snow. Blew me away. I've never seen it in my country. Turned into a rest area that says, watch for snakes. You some tough people. I know us Scotsmen, you know, we're a little tilted. We invented golf, you know, 4, 5. But I got to ask you a question. How come you get the littlest Texans you got and puts them on the biggest bull you got? I don't get it. You put this little guy on a private thing with horns sticking out of it, and then you want to ride him. I assume you want to ride him, right? So the first thing you do is you stab it in the butt with electricity. Why do you do that? If it was me, I'd wait till the bull was sleeping. I'd get on him for 10 seconds and I'd get out of him. Home of champions is Texas, right? And right now, Texas' very own son, and my friend since I've been 16 years old. There is only one, and you know. These folks don't know. It's the truth. I told you when I was 16 years old, I was wrestling in the Sportatorium. You see, at that time, Kevin, he's going to school. One thing we had in common, we both like to drink beer. So we'd be drinking beer behind the tree, both afraid of his dad won't catch us. Isn't that true?
I would call it a little differently. I called it, you were a little older than I was, and my job was to go steal a beer, and your job was to drink it, and my job was to watch you drink it.
Oh, that made me so. I gotta tell you, man, you know, we're here for the troops. You guys have heard it. $30,000, what is it?
Hey, you know, anything I can do, I'm just as pleased as I can be. And as far as these folks here, this is Texas, and everybody here is just glad to support our troops. I guarantee you, there's not one person here that's not proud of their
I love you to death, man. We have been friends for so long, and it's an honor to be here in this town with you.
This is a Piper's Pit, a segment when I was a young boy. I used to look up to Roddy Piper and wrestling show Piper's Pit. How pathetic have we gotten as of late? You're kissing his ass, talking about Texas this, Texas that. The quite frankly, you and I's opinion, I think Texas sucks. How pathetic is that? I'm so sick of hearing this far air country this, far air country that. You know, as a matter of fact, I can't stand the man. Stays there, he's a rip. your dad's ass.